Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the iFi Zen DAC V2 Signature and the Zen Can MZ99, and also the Zen One. And these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank iFi for providing the Zen One, the Zen Can MZ99, and the Zen DAC V2 Signature for review. To greatly appreciate it. iFi, you rock. Alright, so all of these were sent over by iFi, and I immediately hooked them up, started giving them a listen. I was really interested in the Zen DAC V2 Signature and also the Zen Can MZ99. Kind of put the Zen One off to the side and didn't really pay much attention to it for the first week or so. And then I was like, you know what? I really need to listen to that if I'm going to do a review. So I started to kind of fiddle around with it. And all three devices really do impress me. Spoiler alert. All right, let's talk about the Zen One for just a little bit. Now, the Zen One is going to cost you $329 and comes in a pretty standard iFi unboxing. You're going to get the usual accessories. You're going to get a USB cable and gray instead of purple RCA cables. Then you will also get your power cord and a few other little devices like paperwork and things like that. On the back side, you do get a bunch of specs. It's going to tell you basically about the device, that it has a Bluetooth, USB, SPDIF inputs, and that it has HD Bluetooth, and that it has a true native high-res DAC that supports up to 32384 and MQA DSD decoding. It has a all kinds of other things it's going to mention that we're not going to discuss in this. So let's take a look at it. So it looks like this. You got a little light here. It's going to light up, change colors when different formats come through. Also going to tell you if it's connected via USB, Bluetooth, that type of thing. You have a power switch over on this side, and you have a pairing switch and input change and settings button. And then here's your input selector. On the back side, you have your Bluetooth antenna, your power input, USB, coax, and fiber optic, RCA, and 4.4 outputs. Very simple device. I like the color design of it. And I like the Zen One. I really was impressed with it. I connected it with the GSX Mini, the Drop 1 Linear. Also, I connected it with the Zen Can MZ99. And I found that it had a very nice sound to it. It was a little bit on the warm side and a little bit on the thick side, especially when using Bluetooth. It added in a little bit more robustness. Going USB, it was a little bit cleaner and not quite as thick and robust. And I found that it had a very pleasing overall presentation of sound, very natural and accurate tone and timbre, had good detail retrieval resolution. Bass was plump without being excessive. It had a nice expressive impact to it, but yet it wasn't overbearing. The mids were lush and very smooth and had a nice roundness to them. And then the treble was very smooth, still had enough energy and sparkle to keep things engaging. And I really like the functionality of the Zen One, being able to just connect to various devices and use it either as a preamp with the GSX Mini going into the Vidar and then running Martin Logan Motion 15s or Wharfdale D310s or whatever speaker, or using it with powered speakers that work very well that way. Also, just going into a straight amp and listening to headphones, I found that it was very comparable and just worked as it should. And whether or not you use the 4.4 output or RCA, it just sounded fantastic. I didn't notice the difference between both outputs. Then moving over to the Zen DAC V2 Signature. This also has a burr brown, does have an Exmos 16 core, and it has all the other capabilities of the Zen 1. Not sure about the DAC chip specifics. It all says it has a burr brown DAC chip, and it does not say what the chip number is, so I'm not sure if it's the exact same one or not. On the front side here, you just have a volume knob. And that was very interesting why it had a volume knob, but that's because it has fixed and variable outputs. On the back side, it is USB only input. It's the only input that it has, and then outputs 4.4 and RCA, and then you have a fixed or variable switch. I did find that I used it on fixed most of the time. Variable just didn't seem quite to have as much output power as the fixed, and so I just used fixed all the time. Sound wise, the Zen DAC V2 does sound slightly better than the Zen 1. It has a little bit more clarity, a little bit more space, and just overall has a little bit more accurate presentation. The Zen DAC V2 Signature has that newer house sound that iFi has had over the last little bit with their latest products, and I really do enjoy the sound. It has a naturalism to it, does a very good job with accuracy as far as portraying the differences in venues, and also does a really good job with depth and layering. Imaging is spot on. Everything just kind of flows around, very accurate and precise, and I found that the bass is well controlled, has very good details and resolution, with still that impact and just presence about it without overpowering and overbearing and dominating the rest of the mix. Mids are very pleasing. They're kind of lush and just have a romanticism about them, but yet still have a nice good amount of air and separation. And then the treble has a good amount of sparkle and energy, but yet they still have a warmth throughout the whole presentation that goes into the treble that kind of keeps everything just on the more relaxed side without being boring. It's just kind of a chill, round, smooth sound. And I really do enjoy the overall presentation of the Zen DAC V2. You pair it up with the MZ99. Now the MZ99 has a lot going on here on the front, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. But in reality, it's not a whole lot of stuff. So right here, you have your power switch, and then you have your input selector, you have your gain switch, your volume knob, quarter out, 4.4 out, and then you have your selector for the MZ99 Meze EQ, and also adding in X space. You can add in both at the same time, or you can not have either one activated, which is nice. So you can use this with either the Meze EQ if you're listening to Meze products, or not on at all if you're using other products, or you can try the Meze with other products and see if you like it or not. On the back side, you have 4.4 input, and then you have a single-ended 3.5 input RCA outputs, inputs, and then you have your 4.4 output for your preamp. So let me run through that again since I did mix things up. So you have 4.4 input, you have 3.5 input, RCA input, and then 4.4 output. Very well built. They all stack together very nicely and very neatly. They're all the same size, which is a nice touch by iFi, so they would stack very well on a desk. With the combo between the MZ99 and the DAC V2 Signature, you also get a 4.4 cable. So you would take your 4.4 input and your 4.4 output, and just stack them together. And as you can see, it's just very small. That way it doesn't get in the way on the desk. How does the MZ99 sound? Now the MZ99 is a very clean sounding amplifier. It does have just a slight amount of warmth to it. And so you get this nice naturalism and just a nice lushness to the sound, especially when paired up with one of the Zens. It just adds in this lushness and overall just nice laid back ooh to it. A very romantic sound, has very good bass presence, has nice impact, very good slam, extends nicely down in below into the sub bass regions. You get a nice rumble down there. And then you also have in the mids a very flowing, smooth, but slightly rounded presentation. And then in the treble, you do get a little bit of that roundedness with that little bit of rounded smoothness in the treble. It's just a very laid back sounding amplifier without being too expressive, too cold. And I find that when you use the MZ99 button and you're using either the MZ99 Classics, the Empyrean, the Lyric, or any of the other Meze products, it does kind of enhance things a little bit, especially noticeable on the 99 Classic. I found that the 99 Classic didn't sound quite as stuffy and as bombastic in the bass as it does on other amplifiers. When I used it with the Zen Can MZ99, I found that it was a little bit more lessened and tightened up, and it had a more accurate presentation, wasn't kind of as loose sounding in the bass. And then I found that the treble, which could be a little bit aggressive and a little bit sharp at times, was tamed down just a little bit and rounded and smoothed out just a smidge. Overall, I really like the 99 Classics on the Zen Can MZ99. The Empyrean, it did okay. I found that it powered it just fine, but I didn't really notice a huge difference in its presentation. The Lyric, I did notice a difference when I had the Lyric in for a little bit. I found that the Lyric was the best pairing, was using this amplifier. And then I didn't get to hear the Elite on it. As far as using other products with it, I found that it played just well with all kinds of other headphones, and you just turned off, just make sure you turn off the MZ99 EQ, and that it powered everything from Hifi Aueze Stealth all the way down to Rode NTH 100s and Sennheiser 660Ss. I even did try the Bear DT 880 600 ohms. It worked all right with the 600 ohms. I knew that they could do slightly better. So it's not the most powerful, but it does 1600 milliwatts at 32 ohms. And it's a decent amplifier. I found that it powers the majority of things, works very well with IEMs. You do have the gain switch, which will give you upwards of 18 dB of gain. It does have 3 steps, 0, 6, 12, and 18. So overall, I find that the whole stack was very pleasing to have on the desk. And it just worked well with everything that I threw at it, other than the super hard to drive headphones. Worked great with powered speakers, worked great with running it into a preamp and then out to speakers. I found that the Zen 1 connected very well with Bluetooth and was a very easy convenience to have. And overall, I just enjoyed the whole presentation that iFi has given. And you can purchase the Zen 1 by itself for $329, or you can buy the pair of the DAC V2 Signature and the Zen Can for $600. Or you can purchase the DAC V2 Signature by itself for $300. How does it compare to the other DACs that I have in-house? and that would be the Mytek Liberty DAC. And I found that the Liberty DAC does have a more open sound. It is more natural and accurate in its presentation. It does have a little bit more of a brighter sound signature in comparison to the Zens. The Zens are warmer, and I found that, in my opinion, the Mytek is the more natural and accurate and true sounding overall presentation, but that the Zens are a little bit more laid back, a little bit more lush. And if you're looking for something that's a little bit more chill sounding for your desk or for the office, that the Zens are a very good fit. I really do enjoy them. I do recommend them, but I'm going to stick with my Mytek Liberty. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, please check all of those off. And then don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video. Also, check out the links down below, or the links that popped up on the screen during the video. You'll learn all kinds of other things. There's all kinds of ways that you can connect with the channel. You can follow the channel, support the channel, all kinds of good things down below, along with gear recommendations, music recommendations, all kinds of stuff down below. And then don't forget to enjoy the music, and honesty is the best policy.